Thanks.
Okay.
Marcie, hey, do you want to come here? We kind of have a problem.
Oh, okay. I'll be right back, all right? Tammy? Are you okay?
I'm sorry. I can't be on the show.
You know what? I think you should do the show with or without Tammy.
Yeah.
Yeah, if somebody doesn't stand up to Professor Barnes, he's just going to do it over and over and over again.
I know, but I can't really make a big case out of this sexual harassment if we only have one person who's actually willing to stand up and speak out about it.
Maybe we can. We can use that to our benefit. We can discuss how hard it is for students to come forward against the professors, how it's scary.
Yeah, I can vouch for that.
Well, you're going to be great. I'll see you after the show.
Thanks. Thanks. That's a good idea.
Hey, everybody.
Hi.
Listen, I brought those notes.
Oh, great.
See
Yeah,
them?
come on, let's get started. Come on.
Hi.
Hi.
Well, hello. How are you?
Very well.
Good. How's the article going? Are you ready to name the real serial killer?
Well, I'm going to leave that to the experts.
I see. Well, just so you know, Ray and I have been discussing that whole situation.
And does she think that Troy's the killer?
Well, she still has a lot of questions.
And no answers.
And as long as there aren't any answers, you have to ask yourself, maybe the real killer's still out there.
I'm pleased to welcome two very special guests with me here today from the Landview University Psychology Department. We have Dr. Ray Cummings and Dr. Stephen Hayvard.
Hello.
Good morning. Hello. I'd actually like to start with you, Dr. Hayvard. You know, a lot of people still joke about the problem of sexual harassment, but it actually is a very serious problem here currently on campus.
Well, my question is, if it is a joke, who's laughing and why? Sexual harassment in an academic setting is just, it's a nightmare waiting to happen. The symptoms are psychological and physical for the victims. Insomnia, loss of self-esteem, depression.
And some of the examples of sexual harassment can be a sexist comment or another student coming on to a student in a way that is unwelcoming, or even, let's say, a professor who offers a good grade in exchange for a sexual favor.
At the same time, it's important not to create an environment where the professors are so worried about sexual harassment that they feel they can't express their concerns about a student's well-being or express an interest in their work.
Exactly. You know, relationships can be so easily misconstrued. Sexual harassment charges can absolutely destroy a person's career and even their life. That's why at this university we take this all very seriously.
Exactly. This is actually a really good time to bring someone else into the discussion. I would like to introduce Jessica Buchanan. You are a senior here at LU, and you're actually the campus reporter for the Banner. And Jessica has written some really wonderful, amazingly insightful, interesting articles about sexual harassment and the problem that we're having here on campus. You actually spoke to a number of undergraduates who say that they have experienced this firsthand.
Yes, I spoke with 4 different women who all have said that they've been propositioned by the same professor who's been offering grades in exchange for sexual favors.
Well, why haven't they brought up the charges?
Well, most of the time they're terrified. They don't want the publicity. They don't want to be labeled as troublemakers. And most of all, they're afraid nobody's going to believe them.
Well, actually, one of those women is here with us today, and she is a senior here at LU. She's a film major, and I want to thank you for coming. And without telling us what the professor's name is, could you just tell us what happened?
I can't. I'm sorry. I just can't do this.
Listen, I know that this is really hard for you to talk about, okay? But if you do this, then you're going to put this professor on notice that he cannot get away with doing this to other students.
I was having huge personal problems, and I couldn't keep up in my classes.
Did you tell anyone about that? I mean, did you go to a professor or to a dean?
Well, I wanted to, but I was embarrassed. So when I didn't turn in my paper, this professor asked me to stay after class, and he told me that I would fail his journalism course, and that was my minor.
Well, why don't you
The public has a right to know. I learned that much in journalism.
No, of course. Well, why don't you just tell
And
us
anyway,
exactly...
it's no big secret. Any woman who takes one of Professor Barnes's classes knows that he hits on all of his students.
Okay, is that what happened to you?
Yes, I asked him for an extension on my paper, and he told me that I could get an A without even writing the paper. And then he asked me to come over to his house to discuss it. I asked him what he meant, and he sort of winked at me and told me he wasn't too kinky. He told me if I gave him an A+ performance, then that's the grade that he would give me.
Owen, can you come in here? Owen.
Owen, what are you doing?
This is Professor Owen Barnes, and I'll be joining this little panel right now. What? You didn't think that I heard the buzz on campus all morning? If they're going to destroy my reputation and accuse me of a crime, I have a right to defend myself. I am a full professor with an unblemished record at this institution. Miss Buchanan's claim is completely unfounded.
You know what, Owen? This is really out of place here. Can't we take this outside and talk about
Are you actually saying that you have never, ever offered a student a good grade for a sexual favor in return?
I remember my conversation with Miss Buchanan most vividly. I did ask her why she didn't turn in her paper, as I would any student. I was concerned. She said that we could make special arrangements so that she could fulfill the course requirements.
What? That is not true.
She said she would do anything for an A, and then she got more
No!
and quite graphic.
You are lying!
Am I? Perhaps Dr. Hayvard here could explain that your complaint should go to the Harassment Grievance Board, if you think your character can withstand the scrutiny. Now, you know my side of the story. I assure you, I will be vindicated. Marcie.
Listen, I'm sorry about that. I think it's time for a break because I know I need one. So we'll be back after these community announcements.
And we're out.
Jen, I am so sorry
I'm the
about
idiot
that.
who
No,
named him.
no, he's not going to get away with this. I'm sorry. It's just ridiculous.
In fact, Dr. Hayvard is not only on the board, the grievance board, but he chairs it.
Exactly.
Maybe now that you've come forward, other young women will come forward too.
Yeah, maybe. No, I'm done. I'm done here.
No, Jen, listen, the show's not over yet. No, Jen, come on, wait.
No,
Listen.
You know what, Marcie? I'll go after her, all right? Okay, you guys later.
Thanks. Thank you. I don't know what else. I don't know what else to do. What now?
I'll be blunt. We need to find at least one more woman to testify against Professor Barnes.
This is obviously not the place for a hearing on any individual case of sexual harassment. But if you have heard our discussion so far, you realize why it would be really hard for a victim to report it. Dr. Hayvard, you are actually the chair of the Harassment Grievance Board here on campus, and that is where a student should go to make a complaint about sexual harassment.
Yes, Jen Buchanan should bring her complaint to the board, and we'll give it a full investigation. Of course, our mandate is to remain fair and impartial, but I'll tell you from experience, most upstanding people in public can have deep, dark secrets in private.
Well, quite frankly, this is one secret that has been on this campus for way too long. You know, I have talked to many young women who have had the same experience as Jen.
Yes, Marcie, but students have to go on the record. I mean, it's a teacher's life and career on the line. The committee can't just rely on gossip alone.
Yeah, no, I completely hear that point, and you are right, but I just don't see why this has to go on. You know, if we can find at least one other person who is willing to back up what Jen said, it would make a huge difference. I will.
So, do you think that Professor Barnes is going to resign even though he's tenured?
Well, I'd say Professor Barnes wants the university to fire him so he can sue the university, but it's pretty much a done deal. I say he's on his way out, and we all have you to thank because it was your article in the Banner that set this whole thing into motion. Congratulations.
Well, really, it was Marcie's show that brought the whole thing together. I don't know, I really felt that we did something today. Something really important.
You did something.
Oh, you did it too. How great was it that you were on Marcie's show?
I'm the chair of the HGB. I should be doing that show more often. Now, you tell me, You tell me your next big cause and point me in the right direction, and I'll be there with bells on.
Well, really, I guess my next big cause is getting rid of this psycho that's terrifying everybody.
You know, I asked you before about your article, and you didn't tell me how it was going, so tell me now.
I'm procrastinating. I'm writing about everything but the murders.
Well, murder's a very difficult thing to deal with, whether you're writing about it or anything else.
How do you deal with it?
I just focus on the psychosis of it, and I don't really focus on the personal side of it, that's all.
It's just I'm trying to be this super investigative reporter, and I can't deal with thinking about those women and their lives being snuffed out. Every time I look at my uncle, I can only think about Gabrielle.
His fiancée, yes, it's very sad.
The first article that I wrote about this for the Banner, it was more of a recap of the murders, you know, with a couple of things that you told me about what drives serial killers. But I just really wanted the second article to be better, with more insight, you know?
Right, so you're saying if it isn't original, you just don't want to go there. That's what you're kind of saying, right?
Yeah, I guess.
So don't go there. Follow your instincts. Do something original. Write how you feel.
You mean fear?
Fear, yes. If that's how you feel, then write it. Admit to yourself that this guy scares the hell out of you and start writing. Just see what comes out.
Maybe. Yeah.
Ray.
Ray, hi, did you find Jen? What's the matter?
There's been another murder. Student at the university.
They won't tell me anything.
Did you tell them who you were and that you're helping with the Music Box murder investigation?
Until they notify the families, they won't tell anybody who the victim is.
I can't believe this is happening again.
I know.